I know you're very pro Second Amendment. And I'm not a big Second Amendment person. It's one of the amendments. It's a constitutional right. I get it. But I'm not. Like, so I'm more like, I'm a mom. If there's something that's actually going to protect my children, let's do it. And I don't really care if it upsets the people at the NRA. I couldn't care less. However, having looked at them all, especially after Parkland and Newtown, having taken a hard look, I don't see the thing, Charles. I don't see the thing. As a lawyer, I want to see the thing. I don't want to make an emotional decision. I realize it's just like, do it all. But realistically, show me the thing that's going to stop this kid, this next kid who looks like this kid, from getting the guns. And there's nothing to blame it on right here. I don't know what would have stopped it.
Well, I don't either. I mean, as you say, I come out at a pro-Second Amendment position. I didn't always. You'll hear from my accent, I didn't grow up in America. And in fact, I used to have the opposite view. But I changed my mind. And when something like this happens, I reset a little bit. And my brain says to me, all right, well, maybe we should just go all out. Maybe we should just do everything.
Yeah.
That's a human reaction. That's the reaction I had after 9/11 too. Do whatever it takes. But, as you start to reason through what that is, you realize that that's not a plan and that you need to do something far more concrete. And I tend to end up at the same place that I started. Let's accept the fact that this is the only country where this happens regularly. It's not the only country in which it happens, but it's certainly the only country in which it happens at this scale. Well, the question you then have to ask is, well, then what? What is the difference between the United States and, say, Britain, where I'm from? Well, about 400 million privately owned guns is the answer, and a constitutional right to bear them. I know people like to talk about the Supreme Court and they like to talk about the NRA, but that's not the reason that we have that many guns, and that support for the right to keep and bear arms is where it is, that the people are the reason that it survives. There is no appetite for that in Britain. There is in the United States. So you want to change that. Well, what would that involve? You have to amend the Constitution. But once you've done that, you'd really have to confiscate all of them. And it would be pretty dramatic, pretty violent. It would yield all sorts of objections from civil liberties groups, I think quite rightly. So if we're going to do that, then let's say we're going to do that. But we're not going to do that. I think we all know that we're not going to do that. And so what we're going to do will be far more modest. And where I find this debate infuriating is that the more modest proposals that come up invariably have nothing to do with the problem that they are being suggested in response to. I mean, we saw this yesterday. President Biden said at his press conference, we need to do something. We need to stand up. We need to have the courage. And then Chuck Schumer in the Senate introduced 2 background check bills that have absolutely nothing to do with this, that wouldn't have stopped this. And those 2 background check bills will now be sold by the Democratic Party and the press as a solution to what happened. And those who oppose them for whatever reason will be cast as the problem, as obstinate, as recalcitrant. But of course, they're not. And I think what so irritates me about this is that we end up having this false debate in which the people who are skeptical about passing more laws are told that they don't care about the underlying problem. And the people who are in favor of passing more laws, even if those laws have nothing to do with what happened, are cast as caring about it and as wanting to fix it, when in fact, that's actually not what's happening at all. I think the people who say they don't know what to do are being admirably honest. And it's not, I'm afraid, it's not the easy position to take. It's actually terrifying to take that position. To say this horrible, devastating thing happens, and I don't really know what to do about it, is not comforting at all. It's frightening. But I'm afraid that is the conclusion that I have come to, and I find myself in despair, but that's not a reason to, back measures that really have nothing to do with this.
What's in the Schumer proposed background check bill, and why is it not a good idea?
Well, there's two things. The first one is to extend background checks to all transfers, even private transfers within the same state. The second is to extend the period that the federal government can block you from purchasing a firearm if you come up as on the flagged list. So on the first one, all commercial transfers of firearms and all transfers of firearms between two states are subject to a federal background check. So if you go to a gun store, you need a background check before you can buy a gun. Or if you live in Georgia and you sell a gun to someone in Florida, you need a federal background check before you can make that transfer. If you transfer a gun to someone in Florida, you don't need to involve a background check. Now, there are many states that have implemented their own background check rules. So California, Connecticut, New York, if the people in those states transfer a firearm, then they need to use a background check. But in most states, that is not the case. The arguments against this are many. One is the federal government doesn't have the authority to regulate intrastate private transfers. Another is once you get into the details, and this is where the sticking point has been really with Toomey Manchin and its offshoots, it's quite difficult to determine what a transfer is. So, is a transfer me lending someone a gun to go hunting? If it is, what does that do to families? What does that do to friends? Who gets excluded? Does that make it useless? But the biggest objection is that if every single transfer in the United States is essentially recorded by the federal government, then we have a gun registry, and gun registries are outlawed. I'm not, spitting at the mouth against this proposal. I just don't see the point of it, given that this hasn't
name me
done
one mass shooting where that was the origin of the gun.
Well, exactly. That's exactly it. So you end up bureaucratizing an awful lot of American life in pursuit of a policy that actually doesn't intersect with mass shootings, but is being sold on their behalf. That's why that's stalled out. The second one is defensible. At the moment, if I go to a gun store and my name comes up on the flag list and they say, sorry, you can't have it, they have 3 days to investigate and confirm that I was not allowed to buy a gun. Otherwise, I get the gun. This is a simple due process requirement. It's really no different than any other. If the police arrest me and then they can't provide evidence that justifies my detention, then I get to go home. We can argue about how long that should be. The Toomey Manchin bill actually would have reduced that to 1 day. There are some proposals in Congress that would extend it to 10. I think Chuck Schumer's does that too. We could talk about 7 or 14 or 20 or 100, but after a certain point, we are going to have a due process protection in place for the exercise of a constitutional right. I think due process protections are really important. So while I'm not, again, spitting fire over this, I don't see a particular need to change that away from 3. And the one case that has ever intersected with this, which was the massacre in Charleston,
yes,
and that wasn't quite as neatly connected to this as the people who wrote this bill say.
Are the high fuel costs putting a damper on your summer vacation plans? Womp womp. From higher prices at the pump to a jump in airfare, it is getting more expensive to get away for a week. But what if you didn't need to? What if you could soak up those vacation vibes year round? Get yourself a Michael Phelps swim spa by Master Spas. Whether you want to stay close to home this summer or you just want to extend your break. When you come back from vacation, you feel kind of let down. You won't now. A Michael Phelps swim spa by Master Spas can transform your own backyard into an oasis. It combines the benefits of a pool with the therapy of a hot tub. Look at this. Doesn't this look enjoyable? Michael Phelps swim spas by Master Spas have a water current so you can swim, you can do aquatic exercises, and you can have fun with the kids. The water buoyancy will relieve pressure on aching joints. Enjoy pure relaxation in the massage therapy seats of the swim spa and reinvent your family time while you're doing it. You will love it. Your family and friends will too. Michael Phelps Swim Spas by Master Spas come in a whole bunch of different sizes that will complement almost any yard, even if it's a tiny backyard. Check it out. You won't believe. And since it's heated, you can use it year-round in any climate. Michael Phelps Swim Spas are 100% made in the USA by Master Spas. That's the world's largest swim spa manufacturer. Go to masterspas.com. Put in the promo code MK and you will save $1,000 on a Michael Phelps Swim Spa or $500 on a Master Spas hot tub. That's masterspas.com, promo code MK. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.